What episode number is it? 170?
178. And
Oh, that's a lot. What's it called?
Soundcheck Devin.
What up, what up, what up?
What's the show title?
I don't know. Do we have titles?
Well, you end up typing in titles that don't match the actual titles.
I don't really have titles. It's just, GW Grey Knights, Orks, the Bash.
The Bash, because you won the Bash, right, Devin?
Yeah.
Finally.
Are you top of the ITC currently, or what remains of the ITC?
I think I'm 5th globally right now.
How about in Canada?
First.
Oh, number one player.
First in Canada, first best Grey Knight player, 5th overall in the world.
Nice. Let's see, ITC homepage. Before we proclaim you, we should just confirm.
Well, that's what it was like a few days ago. I don't think much has changed.
Yeah, you're 8th right now.
Oh, who the hell's been running a tournament, man?
Like I
Stop.
told you, people been running tournaments, man. Shit. You are number 1 in Canada above Jeff.
Jeff who?
Yeah.
Pandorenda.
Yeah, I know. And same with,
Hamza.
what's his nut? Hamza's posting, I'm a top Canadian orc player. I'm like, you're the only person with 4 events in the entire country.
Poor Hamza.
All right, we are live.
Good evening and welcome to Canhammer, your stop for warmer 40K from the Great White North. Today's show is episode 178, and we're going to talk all about the Berry Bash, Grey Knights, and the Orks, who is the best. As usual, I'm your host, Chris, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Darren.
We also have a special guest coming to us live right after his big win at the Berry Bash. We have
Me, Devin.
Devin.
Yeah.
Yay! Piece. What is it? What's your nickname? Piece of.
No, Sakafak.
Oh, yeah. The man made famous from putting a Titan on a landing pad
Yes.
With a void shield generator.
with a void shield generator.
And
So anybody.
Armon.
And Armon. So anybody out there that knows anything about 30K, you already hate this man, but we love him, so we thought we'd put him on.
Love y'all.
Currently
Okay.
number 1 in the Canadian IGC rankings.
Woo-hoo.
8th. What remains of the IGC season as we know it so far.
Yeah, number 1 Grey Knight player. So you figured that book out quickly. Was it hard?
Not really. Pretty much like it's they just made paladins really hard to kill, and I can have 2 units that basically shoot you out of line of sight. So yeah, it's great.
Cool. We'll get to that in a minute. So before we do that, you've never really been on the show or maybe you were many years ago. I can't remember. I'm terrible.
I've never been on the show before.
Ugh.
No, it must have been Diogo. It must have been Diogo that talked about your landing shield shenanigans.
I think it was Yoshi, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because I was like, we talked about this, but oh well. So why don't you tell us how you got into the hobby and kind of what you play?
Oh geez, got into the hobby like must have been in grade 6, I think. I just walked by the Games Workshop. They used to be it was the one in the Eaton Center in Toronto. Thought it looked cool, went in, got a painting demo, and was hooked.
Then just never stopped.
Nope, never stopped.
So great. That was what, 2 years ago?
Oh wow, thanks. That was like 15 years ago, actually.
Yeah, It's 20 years goes by quickly for me. So 15, yeah. So would you consider yourself a gamer, hobbyist, you a lore master? What's kind of your specialty?
Gamer.
Gamer first. You read any of the books?
I was reading the Heresy series until it just, got so huge I couldn't keep up anymore.
Yeah, there's a while there they were pumping them out pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so you paint?
I pretend to. I put paint on models.
That's good. So what's your favorite army in 40K?
Probably Tau.
Tau?
Yeah.
So I guess that's the segue into. So you actually, I want to say, congratulations, you made it onto the WTC team this year as a Tau player.
I did, yeah.
If we go or not. So
Oh, yeah.
okay, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
When
I guess
when are they going to decide, Chris? Since we're on that topic,
yeah. So that I guess we'll go into we are live.
we are alive.
Alive for now. All of us, I think, are quarantined in our homes, except actually Darren isn't, but
Nope.
Devin and I are.
Yep.
So sucks to be you, Darren. But
You guys are
yeah, I
just
guess
self-isolating, or you're actually on a quarantine?
no. My company mandated work from home.
Okay, so it's not because you've been exposed or you're sick.
No, I'm not. I haven't been exposed. I actually, where I work, we actually took on refugees several weeks ago. So I've only gone into work a week in the last month and a bit. So it's been a wild ride. But yeah, coronavirus. Our hearts go out to all those people affected overseas. It's I guess a pretty scary time. But
Well, it's about to get scarier here.
yeah, it's just starting
Scary
up
people
over
right
here.
now. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of people who are not scared enough, which is too bad. But
Nope.
I think most people are starting to come around that maybe this is worse than the seasonal flu, which is still the most common thing I hear every day. That flu kills more people. Oh, it drives me nuts when I hear that.
Yeah. When you're dealing with whole numbers, it does. Yes. But yeah, so I guess moving into the WTC is they've been looking at it. I think they want to go ahead with it if possible, but that was maybe a few weeks ago. And then every so often I get an update from the WTC, and it looks like they're going to go a few more weeks and then make a decision, and we'll see kind of where it leads. If you're asking me my gut feeling on it, I think it's going to get canceled. I don't believe that this is going, and I'm not an expert, so if you're looking for anything real from me, you're an idiot. But I think it's going to go on, and I think travel's going to be slowed down, and I don't think people are going to be traveling for leisure so much until September at the earliest. So
Yeah,
that's my kind of a gut feeling. Might be bullshit. I only work in.
Just this morning, they have officially postponed the Olympics after a number of teams just told the IOC that they weren't going regardless. We've been talking amongst CCBB organizers. I know CCBB is not anything like the Olympics, but it's our big event, and so we decided to leave it till May 1st because we have that flexibility. But if it doesn't look like remotely it's going to happen, then we're probably going to have to cancel. And this could easily drag on another 2 or 3 months. And by that I don't mean necessarily that everybody's got to stay home for the next 2-3 months, but just like the virus being around and people not wanting to travel. Yeah.
I kind of could see it a month or two, stay home, and then it's going to be a couple months, don't leave your city/province/state, and then it's going to be, don't leave your country for whatever. But I heard Australia shut down for 6 months, so that team probably isn't going to the WTC anyway. And if Australia's not there, what's the point in going?
What's the point? What's the point?
What's the point?
And a lot of people think that there's going to be a quiet period over summer and then it's going to spike again in the fall. So who knows? But it's not looking good for the ITC season this year.
Yeah, ITC season. I've canceled all the events I'm going to. You and I were supposed to go to Stud and Snotling. It looks like we probably won't go. I think that's canceled.
Was postponed till October.
That's right, October. Yeah. So looks like we, and then. As we said, if we cancel Capital City, tonight's the night we were supposed to leave for Adepticon, but that was canceled.
It got canceled. Yeah. I think BAO is getting canceled because their big con is just said they're getting canceled. Nova hasn't decided yet, obviously, because they're like us, sort of end of August, but probably they're going to have to make a decision soon.
They have a harder decision than most because end of August is getting pretty, they might still be able to run it, but maybe we'll have to go because I'll be, I feel like an addict right now. I'm used to going to a tournament a month, maybe couple games here there, and I haven't played in a few weeks, and I'm feeling kind of like I'm shaking. I'm having trouble sleeping. I just like I'm rolling dice in my sleep. It's brutal,
Yeah.
buddy.
Well, I'm usually playing like a game a week for the stream, and we decided that was not doable anymore either. So that's already like that's a bit of withdrawal too.
Which is interesting. GW is closing down all their stores, right?
Oh yeah, closed and factories and distribution, no online. So they're like you can't. So I think we are still getting the latest Psychic Awakening, according to Dan. He is still getting it, but I think that'll be it. Like you won't be able to buy anything from GW stores or online. So
Luckily, I have a closet behind me full of shame, so I'll never run out of stuff to build and paint. And I've seen Darren's shame pile. He's got a couple months. He's good.
yeah, yeah.
But mind you, they'll know of it. Like you're like, oh, I should be hobbying all day, or I should be hobbying, But you end up just watching TV and video games and stuff like that. So, and because of the nature of my work, which we won't get into, I'm actually busier now at working from home than I am going into the office. So it actually kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm less busy at work now because we've stopped doing all elective clinics and surgery. So it's just like if you have a non-urgent medical problem right now, you're kind of screwed. But unless it becomes really urgent.
No, you're not. So I guess onto the Warhammer side of things. Don't play in tournaments, please. Especially if you're in a country that's hit hard. Don't go to a tournament. There shouldn't be any tournaments. Don't run a tournament. If you play a game, play it like in a small group. 1 person, 2 people at your house, and try to keep that group isolated. So, but that's enough for that. Anything else with that Warhammer-related news from the virus, Darren? That's about it.
No, I think that's about it.
So
GW
wait and
closing
see.
was the big one. Yeah, they're still going to give us a preview. I think in the next week or a couple of weeks instead of the Adepticon previews. They're going to do it online, but whatever they preview probably is not coming out anytime soon. So it'll be interesting to see what they preview.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people with more money.
They actually said on Facebook today that preview might not happen.
Yeah, I would think not. I think
they'd have to push back everything if they're not actually doing anything. I don't know how that
well, it's not just that. In order to do the preview, they need a security guard probably to go into Warhammer World. They need to have, the lights turned on, unlocked. They need to have their camera staff. And that's like 5, 6, 7 people being exposed on the bus, subway, whatever, going in there. It's a lot of risk for a company like that I don't think they're willing to take. And so that's probably part of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets canceled, which is, I guess, fine. Like we're all just going to have to grow up and just suck it up. And it is what it is. Like just work on your shame and it's see where it goes. Okay, so I guess hand it over to Darren to keep the lights on because we're going to need this more than ever now, man.
Well, shout out to our sponsors because they are mostly guys who run game stores, and friendly local game stores are going to get hit hard because up until recently they have been able to open, but people have not been going. And now officially they are not on this exhaustive list of essential businesses that are allowed to remain open. We're talking Ontario anyway. And so they will have to close. And FLGSs don't make a lot when they're closed. And they don't run huge margins. So if you can support your local business, whether it's a game store or groceries or whatever, do so because a lot of these people are going to go out of business if they haven't already. So shout out to our sponsors. This is Dan and Dylan at Red Dragon, and Martin over at Dyson Dexes in England, but I'm sure he's suffering the same problems. And Hoyt over at Hoyt at Thunder Games and Gifts, and Dave at Tista Minis. So support these guys. We don't need your money. Give it to the local game stores.
Yeah. I'd pre-ordered my new box set, so I'll have my guys go hopefully for this weekend, which will be really nice. And the Psychic Awakening book, even though it's all being spoiled and we have all the leaks, but it'll be nice to have the actual book in my hand for this weekend's reading while
so
we're all stuck at home.
It in a few months.
Well, that was actually so. Devin and I were talking not too long ago on Discord for our meeting for the WTC team, and I just kind of had this epiphany, like, what happens if they just, let's say, okay, they go back to work, and 9th edition comes out, which is the rumor, in July, and it's like, I've never played a game with a Psychic Awakening book because I've been quarantined, essentially, work from home, and then all of a sudden the new edition drops, and these things might not be valid in the new edition, which is the rumor. So yeah, we might not get to play with this stuff.
Yeah. Do you think they're still going to drop it at the appointed time? I think they probably would, eh? I don't know.
Well, let's say they delay it. They delay it 2 months. Who's really playing that much over the summer, especially if WTC is canceled, right? And CCBB is canceled. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the events in July and August are already pretty sparse. And so it is what it is, I guess.
It's
and
difficult, yeah.
so, but anyway, so we're here. We got Devin, the champion, the man, the legend. So before we get into your list and the Berry Bash, first question I have is, what made Grey Knights or where do you see Grey Knights right now? Do you see them as what level of tier based on Psychic Awakening? So it was an older book. I would say they went from bottom tier, right? Not too many books were worse than them.
They were the worst
one
book
of
in the
the
game.
worst books, yeah.
They were the worst book.
You think so? Like dead on bottom?
Dead on bottom book.
Yeah.
So, and then a Psychic Awakening supplement came. It didn't add actually that many pages of rules, if you think about it. It was a very small, was it like 6-7 pages?
Pretty much.
And they went from being a bottom tier book to a top 4 contender, top 3 contender.
Easily. I'd say they're one of the top 3 books.
So what exactly made them good? Or what changes did they release in those 6 or 7 pages that made them good, in your opinion?
Couple psychic powers and a couple stratagems.
That's
pretty much
basically it, yeah. And on top of a number of points drops over the last couple of years.
The points drops have helped a lot, but the big things in Psychic Awakening was the tides.
Okay, so what are those? Just for
So it's one of 4 abilities that you can use. You start with one set, and then you can change to whatever else later on with the psychic power. So first one basically gives you the Raven Guard chapter tactic. You count as being in cover. If you're already in cover, you get -1 to be hit. Second one ups the strength and damage of all your psi weapons by 1.
oh, gross.
And when you use Cybolt ammo on Stormbolters, they become psi weapons.
Yeah. So that's really good. That's lots of shots with their now quality.
Yeah. Third one is all your smites are +1 damage.
That's my favorite. And then they go to 4 damage against Chaos, which is so good.
Yeah. Yep.
Fuck
Yep.
you, Chaos.
And then the last one is reroll 1s to wound in combat.
Yeah, so because now you have the psychic power that lets you switch your tide, you get to pick like these good ones. Because they're all good, but if you can only use one, it wouldn't be as bad. But you can just
So what, you start off as like what? In cover, -1 to hit or whatever.
It depends on the matchup a lot.
Depends.
Like if you're playing against like a heavy shooting army and you can't really hide that much, or I don't know, maybe they have a lot of indirect fire, you start in Tide of Shadows.
Okay.
If you're going first and you can just kill stuff, you might start in the Smiting Tide or the Shooting Tide.
Yeah, because you got that flexibility. Because now you know, of course, if you're going first or not, which really helps.
And that's big.
Yeah,
In the ITC, yeah.
2 damage smites is hardcore.
It's pretty good. And then for stratagems, it was pretty much there's 3 of them that are really good. There's the one where paladins can fight on death, the one where terminators are -1 damage when you shoot them, and transhuman.
Yeah,
And paladins count as terminators, right? For that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
actually,
transhuman.
transhuman is probably what Terminators needed to make them good, right? Because they're T4. If they're
Oh,
T5,
yeah,
it's
100%.
already much less effective. So I'm thinking like if Custodes got transhuman, it's actually not that useful.
Well, Custodes can have it. You just spray paint your armor gray.
Silver.
So what's that? Gray, silver, whatever. Non-metal, whatever.
Literally, and then they're
So
just halberds.
So that's cool. So those slight changes took this book up a notch. Now, we also said they had major points cuts in the last chapter approved, which obviously helped because Paladins came down quite a bit. So that goes into your list. So you went to the Berry Bash. What list did you take?
Very similar to Lawrence Baker's list.
So you copied Lawrence, is that what you're saying?
I didn't completely copy him. I took a lot of very good inspiration from him. So the list was Drago, a brother captain, a chaplain, a Libby, an apothecary, 2 squads of 10 paladins, and 6 squads of 5 strikes.
Ooh, that's a very low model count.
55 models.
Yeah, pretty good. Now, how'd you get those models? Because I thought they were sold out everywhere for like 2 months.
So they were sold out online, but the actual GW stores have a different stockpile than the web store does. So
Okay.
I was just going in there every week and buying out their stock, and they were just getting restocked.
Nice.
Inside tip.
Okay, so that's the list you took. Now, why did you specifically take that to the Berry Bash? Because it was running straight ITC, correct?
Yes.
So is there anything so that list is obviously very, very good in ITC because it doesn't give away a lot of kills and it does a lot of damage without essentially losing anything. But is there anything that maybe you did to specifically cater that list to the Berry Bash or ITC?
Yeah. So the army is designed to be as, and I hate to say this, as uninteractive as possible. I don't want my opponent to do anything. I just want him to sit there on an objective, score his point, and I shoot you through a wall with 2 units, kill 1 or 2 things. I get 5 primary points, you get 1 or 2, and then we just do that for 6 turns.
And so it does that quite well. You have 2 big kill units, then you have a bunch of other things. So when you went to deploy, generally, I know that every game is different, every opponent is different. Did you deep strike all the strike squads, or did you how was your general game plan if you didn't really know what you're doing? Like, what did you go to the table expecting to do?
So typically all 6 squad strikes will deep strike, and then both the paladin units will just hide in ruins turn 1.
Okay.
And then
the
they'll be all the characters. Yeah,
and the characters kind of go with the paladins behind.
Yep.
Sounds good. So you went to the Berry Bash. Do you want to just take a quick run through your games? Nothing too crazy, but maybe who you played, or if anything was really a rough game for you, you can highlight that.
So round 1 was I'm kind of terrible with names, so if I don't know the person before, I'm probably gonna forget your name. I'm very sorry
Brown?
for listening.
Was that round 1, Jeff Brown?
No, it was not Jeff Brown. No, it was an Necron army with 60 warriors,
60
Catan.
warriors.
Yeah.
They're actually not bad.
No, they're not horrible.
Warrior spam is not bad. It's just most people don't want to run it.
Yeah.
And they don't really do much to pallies, unfortunately.
Or
So I just kind of I just kind of ran at him, charged him, and that was that.
so even your pallies went out. They just went out, ran right into the guy. No need to hide.
Basically, he had 1 squad of destroyers that I killed turn 1, and then I was pretty much home free from there.
Okay, round 2.
Round 2 was Nick Blackburn.
Ooh, can't remember Nick. How'd that go?
He was playing Chaos.
Oh, so
yeah.
Smite.
Well, he's making a Grey Knight army too, but it's not ready yet.
No, it's not ready yet. Turns out the -1 damage 3 up invul save chicken doesn't like 4 damage smites that much.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Nobody
'Cause,
likes
he
4 damage smites.
because he runs a lot of bigger stuff in that list, a lot of things that are harder to kill. I think he runs a couple discos and the chicken with the 3 up invul. But yeah, your 4 damage smites. Bye-bye, Mr. Elite Chaos guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's 2 big wins.
Game 3 was the only loss. That was to Sparks.
Oh, you lost to Jason.
Lost
yeah,
to
actually.
Sparkles.
Raven
Yep,
Guard.
So that's one of the few things that Paladins are afraid of, is Assault Centurions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're the one of the few things that outfights you, right?
They don't really outfight Paladins, I just don't trade very well against them.
Yeah, and they just absorb your shots as well, right?
They absorb the shooting, or their shooting's really good. That was a game where I either needed it to not be Dawn of War deployment, or I go first.
So he went first, okay.
He went first on Dawn of War, and I'm like, well, I can't hide against the aggressors that he's going to put in my face turn 1, and then his Smash Captain flies up and kills one of my vital characters, and Yeah.
It's
Wasn't
gotta
really that
suck.
good.
Yeah, and it's Jason, so it's like sucks to lose to him. Nobody likes losing to Caps. Come on. He was
Yeah.
supposed to go on my Adept. So we were actually going to bring, spoiler, Grey Knights to Adepticon, Jason and I, and Will and Kieran. And we were going to leave today, and we were like, man, it gets canceled the one year we bring a really good list. Because last year we brought a really stupid list, and this year a really good list, and it got canceled. But, okay,
Oh.
so you lose to Sparks. Who's next? Who is next on the chopping block? You're ready to get some revenge, right?
Yeah, Chaos Friend number 2.
Woo-hoo. Do you remember the guy's name or nah?
I think it was Tom Tychansky.
Nice. Big win.
He had a lot of chaos. He was doing the TJ Lanigan style Poxwalker farm.
Okay.
Turns out doesn't really do that much to Grey Knights.
Yeah, like it's just a slap fest, and then you're going to shoot them off, right?
Yeah.
Those Poxwalkers aren't as resilient as they used to be, right, at the beginning of the edition. But,
No, but since you have to pay reinforcement points to get the new ones,
yeah.
like it kind of just makes that unit not great.
Agreed. So after that?
After that was round 5 was Hamza.
Ooh, Orks.
Orks.
So how did Hamza fare?
Again, shooting gallery.
If I had made a 9-inch charge on the first turn, I would have 42'd him.
Oh, wow. So you just shot off everything.
Well, his list is like mech guns, grots, couple shock attack guns, like a lot of shooting. And Ridvan had the table set up kind of Nova style with like those big L's in the middle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hide behind the L's, and not a whole lot you can do with like Ludas and tank busters against that.
Jeez.
While we're on this
So-
topic, Chris, what's your plan for Grey Knights?
Wow. That is my plan. Don't engage the fucking paladins. Drop the orcs in. Just go for objectives. Try to wrap stuff that isn't the paladins.
Yeah.
Well, Grey Knights are kind of wrap proof because they can just gate out,
Yeah, one unit.
and they
So
can
you
just
have
also fight their way out too.
Yeah, so like the trick is you have to like wrap a paladin and wrap something else, and then pray that you have 2 orcs or 3 orcs left alive. I don't know. It
3
doesn't,
orcs left alive.
it doesn't work.
You're not living
it's-
through paladins.
It's a challenge. Yeah, you need 40. You need to mob them up.
Even
And then you-
even then, it's iffy.
Yeah, you got auto pass, but no, you're right. It's tough. I don't know yet. I don't have enough experience because I'm stuck in my basement. But so after Hamza, who'd you play?
Game 6 was Dustin.
I knew we played
Ooh,
this.
the GSC.
So Dustin had just played Yoshi the round before, and Yoshi's list he highlighted mine and copy pasted.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
And he beat Yoshi, obviously.
Dustin beat Yoshi by 1 point.
Oh, okay. So then when he gets the serious player, he falls into trouble.
Yeah, so he did like this GSC trick where he got a Rocksai unit to pull off a turn 1 charge,
Mm-hmm.
and that messed some stuff up, and then it just kind of went downhill from there for Yoshi. But I didn't let that happen, so I just kind of hid behind walls and shot him a lot.
So you screened yourself much better.
I just it was table quarter deployment, so I just hid way in the back, and there was no way he could charge me turn 1.
Oh, okay. So you just went for distance as opposed to like screening.
Yep.
Good stuff. So then you won overall.
Yeah, finally. Took me 5 years to do it.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
So I guess how many players was there in the end? Because originally it was going to be a big major, but I think
Supposed to be 64 originally. I think we ended up with 50,
Okay.
Still pretty good.
which isn't bad.
So how do you feel? The one thing is you play 2 chaos players. So how do you feel about playing an army? I know like it's good for you obviously, but how do you feel about having an army that exists that has special rules that allow it to fuck another army like chaos? or specifically hurt Chaos?
You have to be clever. So if you're like the kind of Chaos player that's like, here's my Murder Chicken, here's my Demon Princes, here's all my Demon units, like you bring like Possessed, a Blitz, you're just gonna get rolled by it. But
like oh, sorry, go ahead.
But the mortal units, you don't get those benefits against them.
Mm-hmm. But like, so the thing is that so you're saying people should take more cultists or something like that to kind of screen from the smites, but like, doesn't it feel weird to you? Like, it always felt weird for me for someone like when you happen to play the guard player with Yarick when you're an orc player, right? Like, doesn't that feel weird having an army that specifically is designed to hurt, even though thematically and fluff wise? But it's kind of weird that in game now that one bit like Chaos Army, you just have a harder game.
It's weird, but it's so interesting because for most of the edition, like Chaos played Grey Knights, Chaos just smashed them.
Okay, so you're saying it's kind of like it's about time, right?
It's not really. It's an about time thing. It's very difficult to have those thematic abilities and properly balance them because they're either useless or they're amazing. Yeah. There's very little in between.
Exactly. Okay, so yeah
like I think most armies have an ability like that against somebody, but hardly ever gets used.
Mm-hmm. But Chaos, like, the demons have the stratagem where they can pretty much just, like, recycle a unit that dies, but only demons get it. So the problem for Chaos isn't, like, your greater demon got blown up, or your horrors are all killed, or whatever, because you can just bring them back for 2 CP. It's he just threw like 5 smites and killed all my Possessed, or he just killed my Blitz, or he deep struck the Strike Squad and killed one of my Thousand Sons Demon Princes. Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
I definitely agree. So that's interesting. So after the Berry Bash, obviously you won. Which books do you think could beat are the good matches for, besides we talked about Centurions, but what other books could beat Grey Knights right now?
We had a question about the Eldar matchup, because obviously they're both psychic armies, but you can play around the deny, and so Jinx and Doom is still Jinx and Doom, and Spears and Councils and all that stuff. So, what do you think about that matchup or other matchups? What scares you?
Eldar are scary. I'm actually more afraid of like the more mechanized Eldar list, like Fire Prisms, Night Spinners, Falcons, that kind of thing. Because if you bring like Shining Spears and a Seer Council, they're just gonna hit the pallies, bounce off, then die.
Yeah.
And then you're down like 600 points or whatever. Whereas like a Fire Prism, like sure, I'm gonna hide behind a wall and you can't see me, but like one Fire Prism can draw line of sight. Now they all shoot me. Like it's gonna be a slogfest, but the Eldar player could definitely win that if they play it right.
So anything else besides Centurions and Eldar that really scares you?
Bombers. Like anything that can put out a lot of mortal wounds. So like an Orc player, for example, that brought 3 Burna bombers that are arsonists. Like that's kind of spooky.
Like the new book, you mean?
Yeah, where they're doing like the rolling 10 dice and getting mortals on 3s.
Yeah.
And
then explode.
And then one of the planes suicides.
Yeah, and then the planes disappear probably. So you cripple one paladin unit and then you disappear. But yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much what you need to do, right? Is you just need to cripple a paladin unit.
Yeah. No, I agree. So is there any advice that you would give somebody playing against Grey Knights? Like, so they know they're going, oh man, this book is a bit out of my league, let's say. What can I do to beat them? Or what should my game plan be going into it?
Never give them second turn. Never. If you win that roll off, you go second.
Why is that?
So if you're going second, you can usually get hold more.
Okay.
And you can usually get the bonus because it's easy as hell to get right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the trade-off risk is that if there's like a big ruin somewhere central on the table, like they might gate into it turn 1. Now, if you're playing something with like Marines with scouts or any kind of like infiltrating unit, you can kind of like block that out a bit to try and stop the gate turn 1.
Yeah.
But if you give them second turn, you're pretty much giving them kill more, hold more, potentially bonus for pretty much every turn of the game, and you just lose.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So you always want to go second. Anything else? Like I would say never charge the paladins unless there's very few things in the game that can charge them.
Never charge the paladins unless you're charging them with a unit that will either kill them or deal significant damage, and it's a unit you don't mind losing. Also, to all the Eldar players out there, bring Vact. Just bring Vact.
Oh, just so you can shut down. Now you can't shoot me. Yeah.
Well, you can shut down, like... You can shut down
Transhuman.
-1 damage, you can shut down Transhuman.
Astral aim.
That's a psychic power, so...
Oh yeah.
No, you
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Come on, Darren.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be able to shoot through the wall, but then you can, essentially, when you do get the chance to hit them, even with the spears, you can make it so your spears actually might do some damage.
Yes.
Anything else that, any advice you'd give somebody else that's trying to play against them?
It depends on the army you're playing against them, actually, because a lot of it's, like, very specific.
Okay, so like Tau, what do they do?
Take 9 crisis suits with CIVs.
So you're saying you have to start with the list to beat them. Do you think it's worth, well, I guess there's no tournaments now because of the stupid virus, but is it worth, let's say the ITC season was not interrupted, would it be worth catering to Grey Knights because of the fact they're so prevalent?
Yes. I think it would be, A, because they're so prevalent, and B, the things that you're going to be taking to cater to Grey Knights are just good against everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like trying to kill Marines, and it's like the same sort of stuff.
Just take stuff that kills Marines, yeah.
If you can kill Paladins quickly, you're going to be killing Iron Hand Intercessors quickly, you're going to be killing Centurions quickly.
So here's something that people have brought up as a possible solution to Grey Knights is to try and stop their psychic powers, but I don't personally feel that that's a very viable solution. So 1 or 2 or 3 Collexus plus or minus Inquisitors to try and just add denies, but I don't think that's a really easy way of trying to stop them. And those things will just die really fast.
What I would do instead, I would take Vindicators. Snipe out the characters.
Yeah. If possible. Eliminators, non-eliminators, you're playing Marines.
Elims don't do that much.
Really?
Save,
They don't.
Well, 2-up save guys, and you're probably going to have to shoot the 1 damage, damage through shoot through walls bullets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you'll do like 2 or 3 wounds to a guy, then the apothecary will heal him, and then you're like, okay, I didn't really do anything in the end. But like 3-4 Vindicators will just they'll drop 2 characters a turn.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Some Vindicators.
Yep.
I only have 2. Damn it! And the Orks can't take them.
Or if you're playing Marines, Raven Guard. Well, a successor Raven Guard, because nobody plays actual Raven Guard. Lias deep striking like 30 Sniper Scouts.
Okay.
Because that's one of the things that Jason did to me, and it worked pretty well for him.
Was he playing Elias Sniper Scout list?
Yeah, he had Lias and like 20 Sniper Scouts. I would just go to 30.
Was
Yeah,
he
you might as
tooling
well.
for Grey Knights?
I don't know if he was tooling for Grey Knights, but like Raven Guard Sniper Scouts are just good.
Yeah, he's always taken scouts like 20 or 30. So I wouldn't say he probably wasn't like catering for that specifically, but there's so many armies in the game where snipers, like that many sniper scouts, can really just have a huge impact, right? Especially Marines, other Marine matchups. If you get their characters first, you're in a much better position.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if you're playing against Iron Hands, if you can snipe out the Apothecary and Pharaohs, that game becomes way easier.
Way easier. Yes, agreed. So any other final thoughts on Grey Knights, or are they just the new in your face we win list?
They're really good. And the problem is, like, if you try and play their game of like we're just gonna shoot you or outfight you, you're gonna lose. 9 times out of 10 you will lose. You have to like do the tricky things like go after their characters, don't let them ever go second, or do stuff like that.
Yeah. Play smart, play hard.
So one of the lists that I was thinking about against Grey Knights is the Custodes mech list. Obviously, you need line of sight, which is one issue with it, but you can play as disengaging as well.
Yeah, but you don't have indirect fire.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
So like,
But if you're playing a couple of flyers, you could mostly get around that most of the time.
yeah, but the Flyers just don't have They have a lot of like very like high strength guns, but that gets nullified by transhuman. So like you'll fly up, you'll kill like 3 paladins or something, and then he just turns around and just dumps 10 side cannons into your plane and kills it.
Yeah, that's the problem I'm having right now with Orc List. Is like a lot of people, they're like, oh, take the Mega Knobs with Buzzsaws, and you can buff them and cast all these powers on them, and they go in, they kill 3, maybe 4 paladins, and then they get rocked in return.
Yep.
So it's like, just don't engage them, don't play them, play the objectives. If you can, as a Custodes player, just don't let them kill too many units, right? Play that kind of range game. So yeah, if you're right, if you have the tanks, because they might not be killed in one turn, right? And they can go up on objectives and just chill, and you might not, if you can stop and get the kill more, you can get the hold more, and you might win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but really,
conservative.
You have to play conservative, and you're gonna have to deal with the paladins sooner or later.
Okay, I think a big unit of 7, 8 Alaris or 9 Wardens can kill the paladins, or at least take them down to they won't die right back. But you have to be the first to hit.
Well, the problem is the pallies fight on death.
You fight on death, yeah. But then you're trading, right? You're just trading, and
Well, I could actually tell you. I could tell you right now how many paladins died at 10 Wardens with all the buffs. I will give you all the buffs.
Okay, while he does that, we'll start talking about Psychic Awakening, and I want to know. So, what's the exact matchup you're calculating right now before we move on?
Who, me?
Yeah, so what's the exact, how many models, Darren, are you putting in? What do you think can kill them?
I'm putting in 10 Wardens or 10 Alaris with the +1 attack banner.
Okay, done. We'll see who wins. Okay, so, while the robot, that's Devin's nickname, goes into the math of this, we will move on, and we'll talk a little bit about the new Psychic Awakening. I don't want to talk about the Space Wolf stuff. We should probably save that for a later episode.
It's just Ragnar.
It's just Ragnar and
doing 200 damage or something like that.
All right, Darren, you kill 5 or 6 paladins.
Okay.
And then you lose all your wardens.
Yeah.
That's not enough, Darren. That's better than the Mega Knobs. It's way better than the Mega Knobs.
It's also like twice the points of the Mega Knobs.
Is that with the extra AP?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
But they have 3 pinballs, so good luck with that.
I don't know what to say. Grey Knights for the win.
Grey Knights for the win.
So if you're not playing Grey Knights or Eldar, and I don't know if tournaments are worth going, Space Marines. I don't know if they're worth going to. We'll see. I guess Hamza did pretty good with his Orks overall. I think he just lost to you, right?
I think so, yeah.
So just gotta dodge that matchup. I think the one thing about Grey Knights that's really, I guess, unfortunate is that the army's really cheap to build, and it's really easy to assemble and paint. So it's really like, I could literally be like, oh, I want a Grey Knight army tomorrow, and as long as the models are available, I could have it ready to go in like a week, probably pretty easily.
Spray silver, null oil, done.
Spray silver, I will give you the hint. It's kind of messed up. Vallejo liquid silver.
Boom.
That's what you did?
Yep. Looks cool. Amazing, and it's 0 effort. Just make sure you seal that stuff, because if it stays in contact with air, or if you put water-based paint over top, the paint will rust.
Oh, that'd be a cool effect, though, eh?
Well, if you're going for like that, like you've been stuck in the warp forever. So one thing I wanted to talk about is the new Gazgal. So his rules have been leaked. He came out, and he's interesting, but also kind of weird. So some of the things that actually I wish listed for happened. So I guess we'll take a quick look through all of his stats before we get ahead. So he's basically now a monster. He's lost the infantry keyword. He hasn't changed at all, which is different.
And he is much bigger.
He's much bigger. He's on a much larger base. He can no longer charge between unit coherency. So if you screen him, he is not charging, essentially, unless you hit a unit on a corner and you're able to kind of have a guy poking through, which is unfortunate. Weapon skill is 2+, same as before. Hits on 5s. Toughness is now 7. Wounds are 12. Leadership 8. 2+ save. His movement is up is up to 7, which is pretty good. He has 5 attacks when he has 7 to 12 wounds left, and then he gets +1 attack for each kind of bracket he drops, which is pretty good. He has all the standard orc rules. He gives the +1 attack and lets units advance and charge. When they charge, they get +1 attack. He also does D3 mortal wounds instead of failing a leadership check. 4+ invulnerable save, and he can only lose 4 wounds per phase.
Yeah.
So that means technically it should take 3 phases to kill him. He also gets reroll hits of 1 for Goth units, which is pretty good.
I think that for like the sort of whatever that woman's name is in AOS, like max damage per phase.
Wrathy.
Yeah,
Wrathy, yeah.
thing. I think that saved him from being completely crappy to being much better.
The other thing is you can include him in an orc detachment, and he doesn't remove their culture, but he only gets the Goth culture if he's in a Goth detachment.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of interesting. So yeah, there's a couple things that I didn't like about him. The one thing is that because he's no longer infantry, he's no longer affected by Mad Docs, so he doesn't have a 6+ feel no pain. He also can't be healed by the Mad Doc. He can only be healed by the stratagem. So he can only heal D3 wounds per turn, and you have to spend CP to do that, which is kind of
Medi Squig strategy.
Yeah, so it's kind of so you're like, oh, he only takes 4 per phase, but originally I was like, but he gets feel no pain and he gets to heal 2d3, maybe, right? Because if you spend the CP, but no, he only gets that. He also can't charge through units, but he does move a lot faster. But he also can't advance and charge because he's not infantry, so he can only move 7 inches. And if he advances, he can't charge, which is unfortunate. He also doesn't get any of the bonuses because all the bonuses only affect infantry, and a lot of the psychic powers also only affect infantry, but some don't. You can still make him quite a big beast, but in the end, in my opinion, he's only like 7, 8, whatever. You can maybe get him up to 9 attacks, but that's all he is, right? And you can always shoot him. He's always going to get shot, and the big thing is he doesn't work with all the good cultures, right? So if you're taking Goths, I don't really know how worthwhile he is. What do you think, Devin? Would you take him if you were an orc player?
He's interesting.
He's also went up in points. Sorry.
Yeah, how many points is he now?
285,
I think. Yeah, 285.
So
I think
quite
a
a
lot of the meta armies right now have ways to deal damage in different phases. So like Eldar, Grey Knights, Marines can do it too. Like a Grey Knight army will drop in 1 turn.
Yeah, because they shoot in the psychic phase.
Then they shoot in the
shoot phase.
Then they
kill him in combat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think we'll see it a little bit, and then probably it's not the best thing in this book.
No.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the model's really awesome. The new one, it's nice and big, but I don't think you're going to see him.
I think it's just slightly too many points.
And what reason do you have to take him in your army? Like he's not that much better than 2 war bosses in combat.
Yeah, and
like 2 war bosses with power claws, they're not that much worse than him. They can't be targeted. They have 12 wounds because they're 6 wounds each. So 2 of them is the same. Yeah, they don't have a 2-up save. They don't have a 4-up invul, but
yeah, and he doesn't have character protection anymore. And your war boss has got a new stratagem that makes them a little bit better. I just think the point differential is too high.
Yeah, so kind of sucks, but oh well. I like him. Next thing is Makari, so he's his little banner grot.
Is this a fluff thing?
Yeah.
Or is there some secret tech with this that I'm just not seeing?
I don't think I'm going to include him in my army anyway.
I thought he would
the leadership of Grots.
I thought he would come with the rule where you have to take them together.
He's only 65 points, but 65 points in Orks, that's like another. Like I'd rather take a weird boy than him. So,
I like him for the 2-up save.
But why do you need that though?
There's plenty of missions in both ITC and WTC where you get extra points if a character does something.
That is true.
Good. He's pretty good for that.
Yeah, he's only 65 points. So,
And unlike the Shadow Field, you can reroll that to a pinball if you fail it.
but you would need to give up a culture to put him in it. You'd have to take a Goff detachment. So that means if you take him in your Evil Sons detachment, you lose. You lose that. If you take it in you're going to lose all your cultures if you take him.
Well, just take him and 2 weird boys.
In like a mixed attachment.
Then you're losing the 5 CP.
Well, then take 30 Grots, too. Who cares? The Grots don't get the culture anyway.
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, it could work. But then that's the issue. So I have is right now, I'm looking at my list. I'm thinking you want to run an Evil Sun detachment battalion. You want to run the new Grot culture. And then you want to run your shock attack guns as Death Skulls. Yes. So a Goff character just doesn't fit in, right, for me?
No.
But, oh well. And then the next thing, this is the best news in this kind of the new book, Psychic Awakening. They finally solved the issue of can you take the custom force field guy on foot without mega armor or not? Because that was crazy. That was I'm not gonna lie, that was crazy. Chapter Proof comes out. Oh, he's still an index unit, but he's not
a legend.
Not a legend unit. Are you allowed to take him? And most tournaments let you, but now it's crystal clear you can take him, which is always nice. They also changed the custom force field, so it works in combat, but it only works on your culture. So they kind of nerfed it, but it also got better. And that's about it, really, for that. It doesn't
go to vehicles anymore if he's in it.
Yeah, it no longer goes to vehicles if you're in it. But there is a stratagem to give an invul save. Sorry, not a stratagem. There is a item to give an invul save to a battle wagon. So most people would take one battle wagon and put a custom force field in it to like survive it and put, either tank bustas or lutas in it. But now you don't need to worry about that. So that's pretty cool.
20 points cheaper, apparently.
Yeah, he's definitely cheap, which is nice. So any thoughts on the new Ork characters?
They're okay.
Yeah, not much.
It's just a bunch of okay. Like, it's not the relic shock attack gun.
It's no Ragnar Blackmane.
Yeah, it's no Ragnar Blackmane. It's no it's no Grey Knight update.
Ragnar's scary, but the Smash Wolf Lord is like way more terrifying.
Yeah. The other thing they added is they added in a bunch of new cultures. They're not really cultures, but we're gonna call them that. Now, most of these aren't necessarily that great from my perspective. The one that really kind of caught my mind, or caught my eye, not my mind, is the Grot mobs. So they actually made a culture for Grots. Now, this is pretty interesting because you can put orcs in the mob and they get the ability. Basically, the way it works is all Grots get a 6+ invulnerable save, and when resolving an attack by a vehicle model in the unit with this subculture, reroll hit rolls of 1. So now your mech guns. So mech guns have a 6+ invul, and they reroll 1s.
Ugh. Like mech guns, they need to get better.
So glad they went up 2 points.
Yeah, seriously. Like, is anyone actually playing this game? Like, it's like shit.
Nope.
So the big advantage to this new Grot mob is essentially you don't need the force field to babysit the mech guns anymore. It's not a 5+, it's a 6+, but that allows you to, instead of clumping them in some of those heavy shooting matchups, especially Space Marines and things like that, you can now spread them out, do the board control with them, and you only really lose 1 on your invul save. And since they only had a 5+ save to begin with, most things completely get rid of that save anyway. And then when you have 6 wounds, a lot of things, you make the odds 6, it's now alive. They don't bracket, which is great. And when you're hitting on 4s, additional shots on 6s, rerolling 1s to hit is always awesome. So I'm pretty stoked about that culture. Any other cultures that you guys think are maybe worthwhile? Or
Arsonists.
So why don't you tell us what that does?
The only part of it that I really read was the when you're doing the bombing run with the burn bomber, you get to add 1 to your die rolls. Mm-hmm. So you're doing mortar wounds to infantry on 3s. So it's basically a Void Raven that gets to
Yeah.
drop 2 bombs.
And you get to re-roll any and all of the dice for the shots.
Yes.
So, of like
that was the
burn
other
and
thing.
things like that.
So like you fire like 3 burner bombers over something, then you suicide one of them.
Pretty good, man. That's pretty good.
So it's a lot of mortal wounds.
Yeah, especially in today's meta. But you would need 3 burner bombs, and they did drop in points, I believe. So they're not that bad.
What do they cost now?
I don't know off the top of my head, but they're not that bad.
Oh, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah. Then they generally added in a whole bunch of custom jobs and custom items. The one that I like the best is that Stompa's Super Gatler now has a damage characteristic of 2. So if you're the hobby hero and you're taking that Stompa, he's now a little bit better. There's a few other good ones in here, like the Red Roll-Up, which always adds 6 to the attack characteristics of a Bonebreaker Battle Wagon. So that makes them very effective now, because those things were always pretty scary. But now giving that flat 6 means you don't want to get close to it. It'll do a lot of damage, which is pretty nice. Any items in there that you guys like?
Yeah,
No.
it's not the Relic Shock Attack.
Yeah, it's not the Relic Shock Attack gun. That's what I thought too when I was reading through it. I was like, there's a few, but they're not great. A lot of them affect vehicles. A lot of them affect Killicans, Deft Reds, but they're not really that great. I just like the Red Roller because I'm thinking about adding in a Bone Breaker to my list, so that'd be pretty cool. One thing that really let me down was the Clan Psychic powers. There was a wish list that I had as I wanted Goth units to be able to charge like Evil Sun units, but that never happened. They got a Psychic power where you always count as rolling a 7 or higher when you roll the charge roll. So you cast a power so that you always roll a 7. I'd rather just have +1 to my charges. Personally, I think that's just a little bit better. And then there's the other good power is that the Evil Suns one, which allows you to cast it on a Evil Suns vehicle unit within 12 inches. If the vehicle unit is over 18 wounds, you can re-roll. You have to roll a 9+ to cast it, but it basically lets you re-roll all your hits. So for something like a Stompa or a Gorkanaut, Morkanaut, that's a pretty decent power. Make them Evil Suns. Doesn't make them better in combat, but it's still pretty good. The one that I really kind of dislike is the Blood Axes one, which allows you to cast the power to deny Overwatch against Blood Axe units and also force a unit to strike after Blood Axe units. And then the downside of that power is that you have to take Blood Axe units.
What do Blood Axe units do? I've never seen them before.
They suck.
Yeah, compared to like what the Evil Sun give you, or compared to what the Bad Moons give you, they're not necessarily worth it. You could maybe build an army around it, but I don't think it's as optimal as you would like. The other one is the Freebootas. Their power is pretty neat. It allows you to half the movement of an enemy unit and also -1 to their charge and advance. So if you have certain units like paladins or things that might come at you and charge you, this would allow you to slow them down, which is nice. It also intrigues me because it is very common to have a Freebooter Psyker. So if you're running something like Flash Gits or any things of that nature, generally you'll want like 90 Grots that are also Freebooters, and then you'll take either a War Boss or their special character, or you'll take a Weird Boy. So that power is more likely to be used than you would think, which is kind of interesting. And other than that, there's a few things like Luta's got slightly better. You can get rid of one of the gunners for a spanner, and then you get to roll 2d6 and pick the highest, which is okay. But then again, you're not... Luta's aren't necessarily in the meta right now. So all in all, I'd kind of give this supplement it's nice that it came out. It definitely boosted my list. But I don't think it necessarily boosted Orks to the level that people expected or wanted. What do you guys think?
Like, it maybe didn't give you guys a lot of other great ways to play.
Yeah, so I think if you look at like Jeff Poole's list, he might take some items, he might use some strats, but ultimately his list is just a spam of boys. It's going to stay relatively the same. right? Might change here and there. If you look at the standard WTC or ETC list with the 18 mech guns, that list definitely got a boost. So now all your mech guns are rerolling ones to hit, and they got a 6-up invul save. It also made the custom force field a 1+. Like, you're going to take it in all your armies. You're going to use it for combat even. Like, you go into that Paladin Death Star now with 30 or 40 orcs. You might, with the 5-up invul, they might live. But then again, he needs to be within range of them, which is 9 completely of the whole unit. Or you got to spend the CP to up the range of it, which might not be worth it. But it's definitely still an automatic include, and you're not even going to include them now. Like, I used to include mine to babysit my mech guns. Now I'm going to include it to babysit the boys more so, which would be is a lot more freeing, right? Because in a lot of matchups in the current meta, the mech guns are what was going to kill all those paladins or kill all those, well, not paladins, but, kill all the centurions and things of that nature. And so you'd want to protect them, but now I don't need to because I have a 6-up invul.
It always feels a bit disappointing too when your army has like a dude, like G-Man or a Primarch or Gazgul in this case, and like you don't think you can end up using him. That's always disappointing when the army can't use like the face of the army. It's always sad when they miss the opportunity to make those crazy, cool and fluffy models like usable.
He's definitely usable. You could take the Goths now. One of the things that I was looking at, there is a Goth item in the original Orc book that gives +1 to hit for all Goth characters within range. You could do like a kind of a character mash Death Star Goth army with that you would maybe screen with either Grots or screen with Goth boys and just kind of say, I don't care if I get the charge. So there's some cool stuff you could do with that, and throw Gazgul in there so that if they're shooting him, they're not shooting your
like maybe
other
usable
characters.
Was the wrong word, but like when G-Man came out and Ultramarines, like G-Man was in every list, right? He's the Primarch, he's in every list, right? And for a certain while, Magnus was in most lists, and Mortarion was in a lot of lists, and so it's like Gazgul comes out, great new model, and it's like you're gonna use him a few times, but if you're trying to win that 6-round major, maybe it's not something you think of immediately throwing in your list. I just think that's
and because he's a monster, he can't go through like walls and ruins that effectively, which is really frustrating. So you can't really hide him, and then he'll lose his movement going around them, and then. If you include him with Evil Sons, they're going to hit a little bit harder, but you can just take out Weird Boy and cast the Psychic Power for that one unit. If you look at his points cost, it's like 9 mech guns, or it's like 30 Storm Boys, or it's, multiple characters, or that's a Luda unit, that's a Tank Buster unit for that point range, right? So if you're factoring what he does compared to them, he's a character that they can essentially ignore. Like, he has a better gun now, but they can essentially ignore him for 2 turns, maybe 3 turns if they have a good screen, and maybe they're able to stop your orcs from clearing the screen. And then they don't have to really deal with him till turn 4. Maybe turn 3. Turn 3 sounds better. I think they have to start because he's going to go 7, advance, and then in. So they have to deal with him turn 3. So they can deal with the rest of your stuff while this big bad guy kind of walks up the board, or you could deep strike him in or whatever, but it's still going to... I don't know. I might be wrong. He might be good. I'm gonna give him a shot, but he's definitely. I would have preferred him to be like the same rules, but maybe a little bit less hitty and not being able to be picked out. That's me. Yeah. Like the 4 wounds per phase, as Devin said, just doesn't give me a lot of faith, because in the hard matchups for me, that doesn't help me. It helps me in the easy matchups. Yeah, the armies that can't do 4 wounds to them, I'm already doing pretty good against those lists.
Yeah.
But,
yep.
So I guess we'll really see. I actually like the old Gazgul better, because you could run him. The only thing is he disrupted culture before, but you could put him in. He could charge between a boy unit. He could charge through a ruin, through a wall, and he did a lot of damage. But Yeah, I agree with you, Darren. It's a bit frustrating, but maybe the game will move into a place where it'll be harder to kill those guys. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, these supposedly these books have really been written more for ninth, quote unquote ninth, than for current. So
Who said that though? Because that's not what I heard. I heard that these books won't be valid in ninth.
I heard these are going to be the books that people take into ninth. That's why
Yeah,
every army is
that's-
getting one.
So what I heard from somebody who I don't know if they know, but they might know, basically was like they're not going to release all these books and then tell you in 3 months you can't use them anymore.
But they've done it before.
They kind of did that with seventh, but
Yeah, but that was like 3 books, not like
yeah,
10 books.
I heard from I think fairly reliable that these are the books. These are your beginning books for next edition. And so after the night one, after the one with the Custodians and Sisters, and maybe one more book, then it's, well, assuming everything stays on schedule, then it's next edition or whatever you want to call it, and these will be the books that you use.
But there's no units in them. Right?
Yeah, they are.
Where's the tactical marines?
Squatted, man. They don't want tactical marines anymore.
Where's the orc boys? They're not in that book.
They don't want boys anymore.
Should we
Grots.
just
Grots.
But there's no Grots in the book. It's
No, but
Gazgul and it's three
Like, in
characters.
terms of data sheets, you'll keep the same data sheets, but using rules wise. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But I don't think these books are just going away.
I would hope. I would hope that, like, my ideal next edition would be very similar to eighth, cleaned up, tweaked, but all the same books, and maybe a 20% points increase for the entire game, so that we go down to an AOS model count level. Could be. Anyway,
AOS doesn't
sorry,
really
go
have
ahead.
super small model counts. Last time I
AOS?
checked.
Oh yeah, it does. My opinion, the average AOS army is half the models.
Yeah, I heard the game is getting smaller physically in terms of army sizes and table size.
Well, that'll be good. Anyway, do you want to move on to questions?
Oh yeah, let me look up on the Discord here. Got some questions.
So, Devin, are you disappointed with the Orc release, or are you just kind of meh?
He doesn't care. He's playing Grey Knights.
You were going to play Orcs at one point in time.
Was I?
Didn't you talk about that? You're like, oh, I wouldn't mind playing some Orcs.
I've said I probably wouldn't mind playing most things in this game.
You're
No, I'm
same as
probably-
me, yeah.
I'm probably going back to Tau sooner or later.
Yeah, well, they're pretty good now with that new. It wasn't the best update, but they're not bad.
No, they got a few really vital things. It's mostly the custom sept tenants.
Now, are you going to be what kind of list are you going to run? More broadsides? Or are you going for like Crisis Bomb or?
I'm not sold on the Crisis Bomb yet, but I'm gonna try like 9 broadsides and a Riptide.
Oh, okay, that's a very small army. How many drones? 30.
40 something.
Okay, you can fit 40 still. That's great.
Yeah.
Not a lot of CP though, but you don't need that with Tau.
No, you don't need command points.
What's your HQs looking like for that? Commanders or?
Commander with a quad missile pod, a Fireblade, and an Ethereal.
Yeah, you need the ethereal.
Yep.
So, Darren, you got any questions?
Yeah. Okay. So let's assume that the tournament scene pauses right now for 3 months, 4 months, whatever. Do you think the meta when we come back will be just like what it is now, or are people going to be adding in whatever new books come in the meantime, even without much practice? Like, will it just be a Wild West when we come back? Well, I guess who knows if Ninth comes out.
I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be so. Like, what was sold out recently was Grey Knights. So I'm thinking when we come back, all those people that are at home painting Grey Knight armies right now, I think the meta will kind of pause, and it'll be a lot of Marines and Grey Knights still.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because people are painting them, right? Like, so you have to think, what's good now? So if I'm home for the next 4 weeks, what am I painting? Grey Knights or Marines?
Yeah. I think we're going to see a bunch of Space Wolf lists come out. Nobody will know what's super good yet or tested, but you're going to see those people bring their lists out for sure. Kind of also depends on what other books get released.
Well, as you said, they're shutting down, so nothing.
I don't know. Will they still release the books? Probably not.
I doubt it because the books are probably on a ship. I heard the orders were delayed. Do they still print in China or they print in England, their books?
They print in China.
Yeah, so I think it's the books the only thing they still print in China. So those are probably slowed down. Yeah, I'd say it's probably delayed.
Yeah.
So I would say the meta is going to be very similar to today. Marines, Grey Knights, Eldar.
Okay, next question on the Twitch stream here is, what do you think of the new guard rules? You guys managed to play games against the new guard? I've played a few now already.
Yeah, they're really scary. Guard got really good, but in an interesting way. Like, they got really good on their own with lots of tanks and lots of artillery, which is really cool. Devin,
Nine
what's your thoughts?
basilisks. 9 basilisks. The 3 damage one that shoots twice.
Yeah, 3 damage basilisk is
Fuck
nasty.
that thing.
I think the -1 to hit is still a bugbear for guard, although they can make one of them hit on 3-up or whatever.
No, they made the whole army hit on 3-up. Interlocking fields of fire. Just gotta do 1 wound.
Yeah. What is the most fun thing in the new Orc book? Not necessarily, doesn't have to be the most competitive. What is the most fun thing? Headbutt.
So the most fun
Cool
thing
name.
would
It's a fun
be
name. Flying headbutt.
taking the Stompa with the damage to Gatler and 30 boys solely to give +3 to cast and giving that thing reroll hits. That's the most fun thing in that book. So now you have a Stompa that's literally, and then you just go for the friggin' Gatler to shoot like 3 times, and you're going to do a lot of wounds. And then you're going to die, and it's going to be game over.
Arsonist, Joe, just burn stuff.
Because the thing is that the Stompa essentially, I guess like it's kind of weird. So this is the one thing I don't know. So it like the Stompa kind of lost its invul save, right? But the old one's kind of still word that it were. I don't know. So we'll have to see how that gets fact or cleaned up.
What do you think, if you had to, assuming you can't play any games at the moment, what box game would you pick up now? Or that you have that you would play instead? For
board game wise?
Yeah.
So I taught my wife Blood Bowl the other day. We got through half a game.
Really?
She didn't seem to like love it, but she also didn't seem to hate it. So that was interesting.
It's a victory.
There's a lot of really good 2-player board games. One game that I actually kickstarted that I've been waiting to try. It's a kind of like a dungeon crawl. Is the Cult of Barnacle Bay. It's a they have like bear sharks and things like that, which is pretty cool. But it's like a kind of a dungeon crawl. Interesting game. I'd like to maybe learn that and play that with my spouse. Luckily, I bought Kids of Catan, and so I have children all under the age of 5, so I have 5, 3, and 1. The 1-year-old obviously didn't play, but we played Kids of Catan, which was a really fun experience. We actually played it 4 times the other day, so that worked really well. But that's for me. What about you guys?
So, normally my wife will not come down here. It's like a no-go zone for her. But last Saturday, she actually spent hours down here because we played Pandemic remotely with 2 other couples.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, it started in freaking China and ended up in mid-Europe. It was eerie. But so she was down here sitting at my Warhammer table on Skype playing board games online. So I was like, victory! So you could do lots of board games remotely like that on Skype if you have a webcam.
Yep.
And actually, me and Francois, Phil, and Barney, we play Gloomhaven usually once every 1 to 2 weeks, but now we're playing like 2 or 3 times a week because we got nothing else to do. Remotely again with webcams and stuff, and that works pretty well. So there's lots you can do remotely. Actually, it's not quite as good as meeting up, obviously, but you got to do what you got to do. So yeah. Lots of games. That's not counting video games, of course.
Oh, God, no.
Devin, any board games for you? Picks?
I downloaded tabletop simulators. I'm going to try and figure that out.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah, a few guys are getting Warhammer 40K going on Tabletop Simulator, which is pretty cool. But yeah, for board games, yeah, you could also do like Blood Bowl is a computer game, but it's also like identical to the board game, so you could play that to get your Blood Bowl fix, I guess, if you want. And the Warhammer Underworlds video game actually did come out, and they just released Wave 2 card pack. So if you want to go back 3 years and play Underworlds, 3 years old, go try that out. But
Have you tried that?
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Is it? Is it just like playing like the game?
Yeah, except it's
Old cards.
literally,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's not up. That's the only part that drives me nuts is that, like, even where I'm at in Underworlds isn't the level of some of the other guys we know. Like, I'm not up to date, but I'm more up to date than this game. But it's still cool, right?
Yeah. That's
Gothic
interesting.
has a computer game as well, Battlefleet Gothic, except it's not like the real board game.
No.
It's not a board game. It's like an RTS, but it's really fun.
Yeah, and the graphics are really nice. It's
Actually,
really
there's a
cool.
lot of
It's so
Warhammer games
good.
out there.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them
varying
suck.
Goodness. Yeah, of varying goodness.
Majority suck. Those are the ones good.
Yeah, you could always
Space
go play
Marine.
Vanilla WoW again.
I was tempted to download Space Marine, then I stopped. Warhammer Total War is pretty good if you want to get your fix for the old world. And there's a really good YouTube channel. The guy's like a salty Australian guy. He's kind of his name's Legend Total War, and he does like they call him like the god of cheese or whatever. So he cheeses the AI, which is pretty funny. So Devin would probably really like that guy.
It's
But he has
like,
all these tricks he does to like confuse the computer and win these crazy battles. It's pretty funny.
Well, it's like so I think they're remaking Command and Conquer, which is like an old like StarCraft.
They are, yeah.
And
The-
I remember
the
playing.
first one.
Yeah, I only ever played the first one. And I remember that you could just build sandbag walls, and the AI wouldn't kill the sandbags, and you'd eventually take over the whole map with a sandbag wall. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cheesing the AI.
Terrible. But that's not Warhammer, Darren. That's not Warhammer at all. But Warhammer Total War is really, really good. There's lots of DLC for it, though, but it's like if you miss the old 8th edition fantasy, it's a really good way to go and play as like Bretonians again.
Bretonians.
I love
Tomb
Breton.
Kings. Tomb
Tomb
Kings.
Kings are in there as well. Yeah, it's really cool. Lizardmen before they were Seraphon, and High Elves and Wood Elves, and
So because
it's really awesome.
it's kind of popular right now. Maybe Devin, if you've done it, just tell people what Tabletop Simulator is.
Yeah, it's pretty much what the name implies. It's you play Warhammer on the internet.
So it's-
Basically, is the best way of describing it.
you have to buy
I-
it. I think it's on Steam, right?
It's like
Yeah.
$20 on Steam.
Yeah, and then you have to like download like data or something, right? For the
Yeah, there's like this whole Discord. You can find the link on Reddit. And I haven't actually played a game yet. So, but it looks cool, and it's certainly better than nothing.
Yeah, I played it many years ago. I can't remember. Not that many actually, but it as long as you both know what you're doing, and you're not one of you's not being a dickbag, you could totally play a realistic game of 40K. If you're trying to play like Gotcha Hammer, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to have some common sense, right? And some understanding that the other guy's doing the best that he could do.
Interesting.
So, any more questions?
No, that's all the questions.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us, Devin.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Congratulations again on winning Berry Bash finally. That's a real accomplishment.
Finally, so many years of best general, I finally got overall. So
Yeah. There's a lot of really good players there too. So you definitely ran the gauntlet there, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for listening. And please stay safe and self-isolate if need be, and also work from home and only go out if you need to. Anything else we should add, Darren?
Yeah, just do what you're told, man. Do what you're told.
Better
Before
safe
you
than
get
sorry.
told to do it and enforced. I mean,
Yep.
Canada's being
It's only
pretty
gonna be
soft
6
about
months.
that, but yeah,
Yeah, we also haven't had the same level of
not yet.
outbreak as most places, so people aren't as serious. But be safe, take care of your loved ones, and now might be a good time to call some people that you care about and let them know that you care about them. So with that, have a good one.
Good night.